live stream here, and then we'll get started with our actual talk. Okay, just give me a second. And my name is Master Ali Gafour here from 2020 Armor, and I got Master Tony Kook in Vancouver, Canada, and owner of 4 locations. And we're going to share, kind of what we're doing in this situation, what we hear other people doing. Obviously, us at 2020 Armor, we're connected to, thousands of club owners, both in Canada, US, and worldwide. And we'll share kind of what we're seeing there. And Master Tony Kook, obviously, with his own locations and schools, sharing what he's doing over there. And basically just keeping us each other informed of just different strategies, ideas, and I think that's the best way in this situation where information is always coming in almost hourly to help each other kind of deal with it as a group. And, sir, did you want to? I guess maybe first we'll start with how is this impacting you and your business, and what are you doing about it?
So I have 4 different locations, and they're in kind of 4 neighboring cities. So I'm seeing different results as a result of the demographic. We have one club where things are definitely much slower. I have 2 clubs where it's almost as if we haven't been affected at all. And then my other location in East Vancouver is a little bit of a mix. So depending on your demographic, I think you're going to see differing results.
Right.
So for the most part, it's been okay. One of my bigger locations in North Vancouver, this morning we're actually running a spring break camp. We originally had about 25, but only 9 showed up this morning.
Right.
So that's an example right there. Parents being extra cautious. Also, we sent out an email blast recently, right before the camp, asking that if anyone had recently traveled to stay at home for 14 days, and we'll give a full credit, or if anyone has shown any flu-like or cold-like symptoms, to stay at home. So we're definitely seeing some effect, and we are preparing in case it gets worse. So we're coming up daily with different backup plans.
Right. And sir, we chatted before this live stream for about half an hour about some of the questions, and one of the things we discussed was, if I'm a club owner, what should I do? What would you recommend? You give a lot of advice and insight to a lot of your fellow club owners worldwide, not only in Canada, but in the US and other provinces in Canada. What sort of things have you been telling them?
Well, I spoke about this with you earlier. Something that we preach to our students and our parents during martial arts training is that we can't always control what happens to us. And clearly this is kind of one of those cases. The one thing we can control is how we respond to what happens to us. So as martial arts leaders, community leaders, one of the most responsible things we can do is to either sit down by yourself or sit down with your staff and come up with a plan. What is your mission, first of all? What are your goals and objectives, and why do you do what you're doing? And what are the various levels of safety measures that you'll be taking? And are you going to remain open? And if not, what sort of things are you going to offer your student body in case you do need to close down for a period of time? So I think the best thing that club owners can do, and I know this sounds like a very generic piece of advice, but it's probably the most important piece of advice, is to sit down and plan every single day, is to plan what happens in case of various situations. For example, here, as you know, Master Gafour, here in Canada, actually, I think right now as we speak, the federal government is announcing new safety measures that they're taking and giving different advisories to the public sector and the private sector. So based on their recommendation, we'll be modifying and following suit. So you need to sit down, you need to plan what you're going to do. You need to network with local club owners, what other club owners in your area are going to do, so that you can make the best informed decision for your club. You know, what you do, Master Gafour, in Toronto might be very different from what I do in Vancouver. And we could both be totally different from what someone does in Italy or what someone does in Dallas or in New York. It really does depend on the area and the local community that you live in, and based on the advice of the local professionals in that area.
Right, and I've noticed. Obviously, you can hear we're at your dojang, and we can hear the kiosks in the background. And so that's one thing. That's one important thing when we discussed on our call, is refer to your local news or your local jurisdiction of safeguards. You had mentioned like schools and districts right beside you were told to close down, but yours were not.
Yes. Yeah. We have neighboring cities where the rec centers and a lot of the public sectors, like the transit and the library, has been temporarily closed. You know, and so they're making the best informed decision for their area, because we're all working to, you know, flatten this curve, so to speak. In my specific area, no public sector service has been closed yet. But again, that could change tomorrow, or it could change next week, or it could perhaps even change in the next hour.
Right.
We have to, more than ever, we have to stay informed and up to date with what local health authorities are advising. So make your best informed decision based on that.
Yeah, I think that's a key one. Is again the local what the local districts are saying, and yes. So Master Kim asked, hi Master Song Kim, nice to have you here. He asked, will you close if school districts close?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right now we're on spring break, so the schools are closed anyways. I think depending on how the advisory is given to us. For example, if our BC Health Minister continues to say that the risk to Canadians is low, you know, while public schools are closed, we ask that the private sectors just continue to use enhanced safety measures while they provide their service, then we will most likely stay open with those increased safety measures in place. But if they advise that you should close, then we will also close, and we will offer some extra training, online training incentives or private sessions to keep our school somewhat functional until we're reopened for business as normal. I think there's a lot of clubs that have closed down completely and they've gone to complete virtual training, and I applaud them. You know, they are making the best informed decision based on their area. But I think that just kind of shows the type of leadership that's needed in their communities. There's some communities where they don't need to close because of what their local health professionals have advised, but they're taking advanced safety measures. That's what we're doing right now, and we're communicating that. I think that's a big one. Is what decision you make, you have to make sure you communicate that to the parents, letting parents know that we're sanitizing and professionally cleaning our facilities, that we're altering our curriculum so that there's minimal touching, no self-defense or sparring, that we're encouraging students to wash their hands and use the hand sanitizer, and we're screening students as they come into the dojang. So we're doing everything we can to provide a safe environment for our students and parents. But again, you know, that what we do today can be totally different from what we do tomorrow.
Yeah. Right. Totally understand. And so I got this little guy with me today, my little helper. one of three, and hard to focus on work when I got.
Master Tony, you were bantamweight champion.
I was, yes.
Yeah, he looks like he's gonna be featherweight or lightweight.
At least
I was lightweight, so you know he's looking pretty bad
right now, yeah.
like that. Yeah. Hello.
This is Adam. Say hi to the world, baby. Hi. Say hi. Oh, that's a blow kiss. That's how he blows kisses. I got my little assistant here, so while I have him with me, so as you said, you're keeping up to date, you know, hour by hour, day by day, obviously what's happening locally and nationally. You know, by the way, for the folks listening in, we'll also be taking notes of this. We'll be taking some of the strategies Master Kook is doing, making a blog post and sharing with everybody as well. You know, our goal in this is to keep everyone informed as to what's going on and some best practices. You know, what are the things that that you see as in terms of the timeline in this? Like, what do you see as the end? How do you think the end would look like, the timeline, etc.?
Well, with yourself being in Toronto, I'm here in Vancouver. Personally, I think that Canada has done somewhat of a decent job and in their efforts in flattening this curve. So again, these are just only my opinions, and you know, I am in no way, shape, or form any type of healthcare professional or anything like that. But my feeling is that people are going to remain extra cautious. People are going to stay safe. People are going to self-quarantine, and I do feel that at least till the end of May, we will see a little bit of slower business in our martial arts clubs. We might not get the same number of inquiries and enrollments that we're used to. And so what we can focus on is retention. What we can focus on is, again, just communicating to our members that we have other options in place, you know, whether they're private sessions or live training, virtual training, things like that. That's what we can focus on. So my feeling is that here in Canada, anyways, I can't speak for the US or for international countries, is my hope anyways, is that by June 1st, we'll be back to normal somewhat.
Right.
That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, me and my staff are daily and weekly just coming up with different contingency plans for what we're going to do. Right.
And then so what's, you know, we discussed this in our call. What's the silver lining in this? How do we prepare for this going forward? You know, maybe not for necessarily a viral outbreak, but you know, a slow month, a slow quarter. What are some of the things that you think we can do that we're learning from this? What are you learning from this as well?
Well, the silver lining, I think in the past when we had the H1N1 outbreak, when we had the SARS scare, we didn't see it leak so much into the Taekwondo schools or into the martial arts business, at least not to this level. So if there's anything positive to take away from all this is if anything like this were to happen again in the future, we will be so much better prepared with our protocols and with our procedures to deal with this. I mean, obviously, this is one of the worst cases that we've had in the last couple of decades, and it's been negatively affecting a lot of people. But on the flip side, the good thing is that it gives us an opportunity to really nurture and foster the relationships that we have with our students and parents. I think as small business owners, there's absolutely nothing wrong with communicating to our family of students that it is a difficult time for small businesses, and we ask for your support. We all want to have a Taekwondo dojang to come back to, or a martial arts academy to come back to. So would you consider just continuing with your support, and we will make sure that you know, none of the value that you've been paying for will be lost. In fact, We'll offer more services to make up for it in the form of credits or incentives in the future and things like that. So it's very natural for us as humans, especially business owners. You know, the reality is that we're going to have less revenue while the expenses remain the same. So it's very natural for us to be fearful and anxious and scared. But how about we take that black belt attitude? Why don't we take that bold step and become the student of our master and say, okay, what are some of the positives we can take away? What are some creative solutions we can come up with? Having said that, I don't have all the answers. I'm every day talking with club owners. I'm every day talking with people across the country and in the U.S. I myself, I'm not really big on social media, but now more than ever, I'm surfing the web, looking for information and trying to get new ideas. Yesterday, I was listening to a live podcast by Master Michael Mertens from World Class Taekwondo. He offered some wonderful information and advice on what to do during this time. So we really do need to come together and come up with responsible solutions and creative solutions for the safety of our students and our community right now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's you touch on some very important points there, in both in looking at this from different perspectives, but while not worrying, and then asking the parents, the members specifically, will you continue to support this? I know I saw this for Master S. Kim, Sun King, who just asked that question before. That is what he specifically asked as well. And he's got, I'm not sure how many thousands of students. I think only one said maybe, right? So again, if you ask directly, that will also kind of help you manage your finances and how to predict for the future. And you know, like the services that we provide, that you guys provide, you guys you're forming these children's future, so the parents value that. And you know, they know that you're also a small business, so they do want to support you as well. So I think asking that direct question is very important. I know for Americans that are listening, there's for your insurance, you might have business interruption insurance. You might want to look into that. Have you looked into that at all for your locations at all, Tony?
I have. I have. I'm probably overinsured for all of my locations, but specifically for this case, I did call my broker and ask if we were covered for business interruption. And for things like this, we actually are not covered, even though I'm paying a high premium, which I'm not happy about. But yeah, you know, that's an example right there. You know, it might be different in Toronto, and it might be different in New York or Dallas or Los Angeles.
Right.
So it differs. I do want to. I think for the people that are listening right now, some people are wondering what are some things that they can do right now.
Yeah.
To help their business, because at the end of the day, we are a small business. You know, obviously, we want to keep our students and parents safe. Now, if you don't have one, is a great time to really come up with a very clear communication system that you have for your students and parents. And so, while you as the club owner and you as the instructors might know the protocols that you're setting in place, your parents may not know that. Some of your students may know that, but not all of them may know that. And so, for example, we have a very clear, structured communication system. Every Monday, I'll share with you what we're doing, and hopefully what some of the things that we're doing will help other business owners. Every Monday, I have my program directors send out an email blast to all of our students and parents that are on our mailing list. These are the updates. This is what we're doing this week. We upload everything to our mobile app. So parents and students get through push notifications on their mobile app the certain things that the safety measures that we are taking this week. I instruct my instructors to announce it in class to the students, because not all the students have our mobile app, and a lot of students don't even have email, especially the younger students. And then we also have big screens at each of our dojans. So we have that flashing all the updates as they come forward. So I guess my point is you can never over communicate what you are doing, the safety measures that you are taking, the changes in curriculum that you are taking. You need to have a very clear communication system in place. And because this is a special situation, we're actually handing out letters as well to each of our students as they leave. So, you know, it's it's email, it's our Instagram, it's our Facebook, it's our mobile app, it's announcements in class, it's sending home flyers, in-screen notices. You can't over communicate, and I think that's very important. So if you don't have the communication systems in place, now would be a great time to do it. It literally takes you a couple minutes to come up with a communication system. You just need to relay that to your staff so that you guys are all on the same page.
Right, right. What are the other strategies? You know, I heard of was asking your landlord if the leasing space for delay in payment of 8 weeks or something, you'd be paid back as an add-on for the month. That's one of the other strategies that some of the folks have been doing in the industry.
Yeah, if you're anticipating a big financial loss as a result of this, again, the first thing that you do is train your staff or train yourself on how you respond to emails,
right?
How you make the announcement, how you respond to calls. You are going to get parents saying, "I want to cancel for a month."
Right.
I want to cancel until further notice. I want to put our membership on hold until further notice. You are going to get people do that.
Right.
If you're one of those clubs where that's minimal, then you're very blessed. You're very lucky. But the reality is that a lot of clubs are going to be getting those kind of requests. So how do you respond? Be very honest with them. You tell them that safety is at you tell them that you're doing everything you can to make sure everyone has an academy to come back to. You let them know that this is a very difficult time for not just me, but a lot of martial arts school owners, and that's why it's so great to have supportive parents like yourself. Would you consider instead of putting your membership on hold, just continue with the payment, and we will make sure we give you the full credit. We'll give some extra incentives as well, such as private lessons or some free events, just so that we can stay afloat and that I can continue to pay our rent and pay our staff. But most importantly, just make sure that when things come down, that we are still here. If you would consider that and do that, we would be very grateful. If you're not in a financial position to do that, then absolutely no worries at all. And I just thank you in advance for your consideration.
Right.
So, being very honest, being very sincere, I think will pay big dividends because people want things to get back to normal.
Right.
No one likes living in this kind of state of panic. So if we can appeal to their good nature, I think we can get through all this.
Yeah. So that's a good one. So Michael, I know you're listening. Michael is our head of marketing. We'll take Tony is the master of speech. He speaks very well, as you can't tell. You can tell. So we'll take that essentially that dialogue. We'll put into a blog post, and that's one of the communications, like you said, that you need to write down for your staff or yourself to be able to articulate to the parents that are going to call and ask for that suspension or hold. And I think the way you addressed it is, again, very honest. And you make the simple ask, and if they say okay, then they say, and if they say no, then they don't, right? But I think you need to ask. I need to explain to them like what all the implications are as well. So that's a very good point.
I don't think you can force people against their will.
Yeah, of course.
I think the worst thing that you can do at a time like this is to pull out the contract and say, well, it says right here that
Right.
You can't.
Right.
And now parents will start to feel like you're nickel and diming them, and that's not the kind of message we're trying to send at this time. Um, just being sincere and being honest, I think, is great.
Yeah.
Great thing you can do right now. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. Yeah, because those questions are going to come up from some club owners for sure. Is like, hey, look, if there's a contract, can they shouldn't leave. But you're right. It's like that's not going to help you in the end. And especially if that parent, for example, has lost their job, for example, for whatever reason in the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a few more minutes until. And by the way, folks, if you have questions, please ask them at any time. Master Tony Kook will be happy to take them from you, and just leave them in there, and then we'll get them. Some other things in communication, sir. So you mentioned the calls for people coming in. You mentioned the communication to your staff. You mentioned obviously keeping your actual members up to date in different formats, emails, your TV screens, all that sort of stuff. What other forms of communication do you suggest, or types of conversations that you think are going to come up that you're preparing your staff for?
Well, okay, so I think we've exhausted all the communication channels that you can take.
Right.
Now you have to back that up with action.
Hmm.
So for example, what we're doing at our facilities here is we are getting everything professionally cleaned. Is it costing me extra money? It is. We're making sure that our hand sanitizers are fully stocked. We're making sure that in between classes, that instructors are actually wiping down the handles and the benches and all the surface areas that are being commonly touched. We're communicating to the parents that before and after each class, we're cleaning the mats.
Right.
So you have to communicate, but you need to back that up with action. And in fact, I think now would be a good time to talk about the different levels. What are some of the things that school owners are doing during this time? Number one, there's some school owners that are just remaining open with no communication, business as normal, just pretending nothing is going on. And I think that's negligent, right? On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have clubs that are simply closing down, again, with no communication. We're just closed until further notice. And I think that's negligent as well. And so now you have kind of level 2 and level 3 in between. You have clubs that are remaining open, but they're implementing a lot of extra safety precautions and safety measures. For example, asking parents not to wait in the waiting area, just drop off, pick up, screening students at the door for their temperature, asking students, have you had any recent flu-like symptoms or cold-like symptoms, asking parents if they've recently traveled outside of Canada, because you and I live in Canada, to self-quarantine at home for 14 days, and just making sure that all the surfaces are clean. So that's another form that you can take. Another thing that school owners can do is they can consider modifying their schedule. You know, if you're in a club where you have back-to-back classes, you may want to consider adding in a 5 or a 10-minute buffer, just to promote that social distancing that everyone's talking about. Depending on how big your club is, you may want to consider limiting the class sizes. You know, maybe instead of 10 students per class, you want to limit to 5, or instead of 20 students per class, you want to limit it to 10. So those are some of the things that you can take. And then another level of safety you can take is you can supplement that with live training. You could say, you know, we ask you as the parent to make the best informed decision for your child. We are staying open. These are the safety measures we're taking. But if you would like to take advantage of our live training, our virtual training, here is the link. And again, now is a great time if school owners don't have one, come up with one. And you know, surprisingly, it's very easy. You know, I myself have an iPhone 11 that takes great videos and takes great pictures. So it's nothing fancy. You can literally use your smartphone to create these sort of online training tools to help supplement. You mentioned earlier that there's some club owners in the US that have already shut down and they're just going to virtual training. And that's amazing. You know, that means that they have that system in place and they've been prepared for that. So I think those are the 4 different levels that you as the club owner have to make a decision on. What are you going to do? Right now, we're doing that level 2 and level 3.
Right.
We're supplementing online training with taking increased safety measures and communicating that to the parents. And that's as of today. That could change tomorrow.
Right.
That could change next week.
Yeah, one of the things that that's coming out in the trusted news sources are that children are a carrier but show no symptoms, right? So what do you say to people who believe that, or if that is to be true?
Yeah. You know what? In a time like this, Master, before, I think it's paramount that nobody judge anyone. I think it's important that we give as much information as possible to school owners, and we ask that they make the best decision given their circumstance, given the demographic that they live in. If they have local health authorities asking them to strongly consider closing down for a period of time, then we leave that decision up to them. And we don't judge them. You know, for example, we were at last night. I'll give you an example. Last night, no, not last night. 2 nights ago, we were at our tennis club, and I overheard a couple of parents talking about how everyone's overreacting. That this thing's just going to blow over. And then there was a father talking with one of the coaches, saying, you look at a country like China. They've done such an incredible job of bouncing back. They're putting bracelets on people, taking people's temperature. Based on that, they're not allowing people to come into stores or making them stay at home. They made it a government issue mandate to self-quarantine. So they've definitely flattened the curve, right? Mm. So you have the 2 different extremes. And all we ask is that we ask club owners to make the best informed decision for their club based on the safety of their students. So that's what I can say. I'm not going to say that that club owner is doing the right thing or the wrong thing. All that we can ask is that everyone make the best informed decisions for themselves.
Right, and I think the key word is informed. Is again being in touch with your local group, and also being aware of again talking to other local club owners as well, martial art club owners, but then also being aware of what's going on nationally to see if maybe something down the road is coming towards you, and so you can be better prepared. But the key point is there just to be constantly informed and make the right decision based on information, trusted information.
I know there's some states in the U.S. where they've declared it officially a state of emergency, and that their local health authorities are not considering it low risk. So if I personally had a dojo in that area, my decision would be to close down and to offer supplemental training, live training. I would appeal to the parents and the students, saying based on the information given to us by the local health authority, we've decided to keep our students safe, close down. This is what we're going to do in the meantime. And we're also going to offer this and this. And again, we thank you for your support. And it's because of parents and students like you guys that we have this wonderful community that we can serve in. Would you consider just continue with your tuition, and we will make sure that the full value of what you're paying will be recovered, to help us so that we have a club to come back to. So that's what I would do if I were in that kind of demographic. Mm-hmm. Where I am right now is a little bit different, so we're doing it based on that.
Right. One of the questions from Teresa Lang is Ms. Teresa Lang asked, what sort of technologies do you use? So I have a computer science background. I'll offer some suggestions here, and Master Cook, if you have
please do.
some as well. So I think that the easiest and quickest will be just YouTube and do YouTube Live. And because everyone has a YouTube app, YouTube Live, YouTube will be very good in terms of all this influx that comes in. YouTube is essentially Google, so it's got a big infrastructure, so it won't go down. And it'll be very simple to use, and your kids and your parents and students, everyone will have YouTube and know how to use it. I think that's probably the easiest one. A lot of people are talking about Zoom. Zoom is good. Zoom is more for business meetings, and you can see other people. You might be able to see their stance and everything. That might be a little bit harder to manage, especially when you've never done it before. So you might want to try to do a one-to-many approach as opposed to try to see everyone's stance and correct them. You could give that a shot maybe with a small group first to kind of get your bearings first. But those are the two main ones that the kind of people are talking about. Both are free. And sir, so you said you have some sort of an online training. Is it pre-record videos, or are you planning live?
They're pre-recorded videos, yeah. But I think what we will do is we're one of our backup plans is if we go to full virtual, is that we're going to supplement that with the live training. You know what, you're much better to answer this, but I believe my staff told me that they'll be using a combination of Instagram and YouTube, like what you said.
Yeah.
Now, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
I think the follow-up question to this is, how do you structure these online training things so that it's beneficial for students? Because it's very important that the instructor who normally teaches the class or the head instructor, whoever that may be, continues to build that relationship with the students. You know, say hello to each of you at home and really verbalize the benefits of training. You know, if I could give you a quick example, when you start the class, when you're doing a live training, okay, everyone, try to Kyungman, and this is a very good reminder that we bow to show respect. And one of the things that you can do is show respect to yourself by taking care of your own health and safety. When you show self-respect, you will show respect to everybody around you. Now let's start with a warm-up, and you do the warm-up, and then you do some on-the-spot training, and you continually send that message about respect, about discipline, about focus. Remember, try not to get distracted by things around you. When you can focus all of your energies, the task at hand, we call that focus. So great job on doing your focus. And then you go through your pumse drills, your kicking drills, and you go through a warm down. And you end off with a positive message. You know, some schools call it a mat chat or what have you. And then you give them a homework assignment. Okay, until Wednesday or Thursday, make sure you're doing your 10 push-ups. Make sure you're doing your 10 stretches or your pumse practice. And when you come back to class, we're going to be logging that. We're going to give you your stripes. So you have to be fun. You got to be positive. You got to be animated with your online training as well, so that your parents and students see the value of this as well.
Exactly, and I encourage you guys that are going to do the online, again, do the one-to-many, again, because trying to correct people's posture live, it's just like, imagine you have 30 people looking at you and trying to fix one person's students, and then you've lost everybody. Do the one-to-many. Look at online, like Zumba Strong, for example, is one that you can find on YouTube right now. It's got some martial art moves. You can see how the instructors conduct themselves, the way they teach class. Try to do it in that fashion. That's also a very one-to-many type setup. But then, you know, the benefit that we can provide is we have that relationship with our students, and as Master Cook said, to reinforce those other martial art values at the beginning and at the end of class. But this will, you will have to perform, or your instructors will have to perform these movements. So, you know, bring that energy. They will feel that energy. But, you know, I think you can still maintain that relationship throughout these times when you are away by going live, showing your face, showing the movement, showing your excitement, still being top of mind, so that when they do come back, they're not cold, and that they remember the value that they're getting from your business. So again, Zumba Strong is one of them. If you just look at any sort of, I like the martial arts specific ones because you can kind of see the way they move versus just general fitness ones. Core to Force is another one from Beachbody Fitness, but that one is you'd have to pay for that one. I don't know if they're opening it up now because of everything that's going on. But if you just go Zumba, ZUMBA Strong on YouTube, you can find one there. But yeah, just YouTube Live is probably I think your best bet. And you can also do Facebook Live if you have a group of your students.
Yes.
That way, they will get the notification that you are live as well. So if you've done a good job and if you built a group of Facebook students, then you can do that. If you haven't done that, if you just have email, then the YouTube Live would be I think the best one there. So we're winding down on our time here. We just have a few more minutes. If you have some questions, please put them in the bottom. Thank you for those people that are thanking you, Master Kook, for your time here today. And remember, we will summarize this and send this out to the emails for the people that we have. If we don't have your email, you don't think we have your email, just leave it in the comments and we'll email it to you. We'll summarize everything. Any last thoughts, sir, before we sign off?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Master Kook, for organizing things like this. I just want to end off by saying what I started with, that we can't always control what happens to us, but the one thing we can control is how we respond to what happens to us. And I don't have all the answers, and that's why it's more important than ever that the martial arts community help one another, show our resilience, and get through this tough time and look for opportunities during these kind of challenges. I mean, who knows? This new wave of online training and virtual training. Many clubs that never even thought of this are now thinking about this. This could be a wonderful future revenue stream. Supplemental added value for your students. So that's an example right there. So let's all stay strong. Let's all not judge each other. Let's all be supportive of one another. And if we have any new updates or helpful information, let's share it with one another, because we're all passionate about what we're doing. We're all doing this for the same reasons. So thank you, Master Gafour, for bringing this together.
Thank you, sir. I know obviously you're dealing with all your businesses as well, and you took the time out of your day to help us out. Thank you for your leadership and your poise in this situation. A lot of people will be looking to that as a vote of confidence, and I thank you for those suggestions as well. Everyone else, have a great day. Stay up to date with what's going on, and we'll chat soon. Okay, bye, Master Kook.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Let me stop.